All right, can you all see my screen okay? Because I don't trust Zoom. Awesome. All right, so let's get started. Welcome to the Zarf Online Meetup for December 8th of 2022. And today we're going to talk about new features that are coming in Zarf 0.23.0. Quick agenda for today. We're going to talk about those new features, where about some different fixes and dependency updates that have happened. I'll do a quick demo of how to get the release candidate because release candidates work a little bit differently than just Zarf standard, and then how to reach out to us. So, new features, and I can't talk about how much work this was enough. Zarf is now not just a CLI, but Zarf is also a library. So if you're coding in Go, you can use Zarf as a library. You can add Zarf to CI/CD things, GitHub Action things. Uh, this was needed so that we could do the work we want to do down the line. But it took a huge amount of effort by our development team to go from the internals of Zarf, the CLI, with then experimental UI to Zarf, the CLI, and the library. So that huge shout out to the dev team for all the work that went in there. Big thank you. The next thing is pod affinity. So we had some, because we're running in Kubernetes, we were seeing some weird behaviors that happened as a result of changes that we made in 0.22. So we've updated the manifest for all the Zarf objects to make sure they get spread out through the cluster properly. That just dropped in RC5. So what you're seeing here is the big things that happened from 22.0 to 23 RC5. So we'd hoped to have 23 out for today, but we're like this close, and we don't want to release it before it's ready. It's like 3/4 baked, and we're running it through its paces. So we've done 5 release candidates in the last several days to get towards that 0.23 official. Couple new small SBOM changes. Nothing major there. There are features that are coming so that we can do more around SBOM. So this release is a lot about getting the pin set up so we can knock them down for the next release, and then a whole bunch of bug fixes, dependency updates. If you want to see everything, I'll show you where. So if you want to see what's been done since the 0.22 release, because we've done 5 release kits, if you want to see everything in one bucket, you can go to Zarf, go to releases, and see here the change log. So this is the change log from RC4 to RC5, and all you have to do is just change this code, go back to the 0.22 dot, I think it's 2. Yeah, there it is. And we can compare that 22 branch to what's current, and you can see a whole lot of work was done here in between 0.22.2, which was a month or so ago, and 0.23 RC5 that is current. So, the 23 is imminent, but we're not quite there yet. So you can see a lot of work went in here. And as always, we have a robot called Renovate that makes sure that our dependencies stay up to date. That helps us prevent things like 0 days and security issues and tripping over bugs. So we have that in there to make sure that we're always up to date on our dependencies. Just checking the chat real quick. Oh, thank you, Joseph. All right. So, with that, quick demo. So today's demo, I'm going to show you how to get the release candidate because it doesn't work like other things. So I'm going to assume a couple of things. One, that you have a macro Linux setup. So this is towards a macro Linux. I'm gonna show the Mac one because the Mac one is harder, but I'll tell you where the Linux version stops. So this machine would be like most people who are using Zarf today. They would have 0.22.2 installed or earlier, and they might use brew to install it because that's how we do it on our website. You install brew and use brew to install Zarf. So right now, if I do a Zarf version, you see here I have 0.22.2. Usually, and this doesn't work right now, and I'll show you that it's broken, I should be able to do a Zarf upgrade with a Zarf and then an at, and then we have 2 tags you can use. You can use RC latest, which is the latest RC, or you can use Zarf with the actual version v 0.23.0-RC5. But like I said, this is broken right now. Oops, not Zarf. Brew. And Brew will yell at us in a second unless we have oh no, we actually fixed it. Look at that. Oh no, it is not working. Good. Yeah, I expected to fail faster. So it's actually asking me if I meant other versions of the RC, but if I were to go back and say 4, it's not working. So for whatever reason, some part of our CD process for brew is just not working quite right now, and that's just on the list of things that we have to fix. So I'll show you how to get the newer Zarf without brew. So first and foremost, we have to get rid of the one that's in brew. So I will have no Zarf. If I do Zarf, I'll just show you it's gone. Zarf is gone. So if you're a developer type like me, you can just go in and grab the Zarf code base and just do a make build CLI. And that will actually the default is to build the AMD 64. So I want the Apple one. If I just type in make, I can see my options. I can do build CLI, Mac Apple. So Mac Intel is your Intel chipset. Mac Apple is your M1 chipset. So I'm on an M1. And this will take 30 to 45 seconds. But when I'm done in the build, I probably just built one recently, so it may be there. And I want to build a CLI too. So make sure you just do a build UI as well. That way, and if you're missing a tool, like here, I just needed the for that I just needed the Go binary, which I already have. If you're building the CLI, you'll probably need Node. There might have been one more tool I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but it will yell at you. It'll be pretty obvious what tool you're missing. I checked, and we actually don't have that in the contributor guide, so I made a note today to actually update our contributor guide with the development dependencies you'll need to build it. But once that's done, here in the build directory, you'll have a copy of Zarf. You'll probably have several copies of Zarf, depending on how you built it. But if I were to do a /Zarf Mac Apple, I would see Zarf, and if I did a version, you'd have 23RC5. If you don't want to build it, you just want to download the binary, go back out to GitHub. We'll go back to releases. We don't need to compare now. You go to the RC5 tag, and then here are all the binaries you need based on your architecture. So if you're Linux, grab the Linux ARM, the Linux AMD. If you're an M1, it's going to be Darwin ARM64. So I'm just going to grab that now because I don't think I have a copy of that. I think I actually deleted the copy of it that I had earlier. So I'll just grab that. And don't forget to grab the init file for your system. Now, Zarf, when you do a Zarf init, should recognize you're missing the init file and download it for you. But if you're in an air-gapped environment or just like that, you're going to want to download the init file as well. That Zarf init file is now versioned. So I think it was the jump between 0.21 and 0.22. The Zarf init files became versioned based on backend changes we had to make that were breaking changes to the Zarf and the internal APIs. Yeah, and I saw npm and Golang. So yeah, dependencies you'll need npm and Golang. So if you have those, you'll be good. If you're a software developer who's worked on anything Go in the last couple of years, you probably already have them. So we've downloaded that. I have the init file. Go to my downloads. So at this point, this is where we're going to bridge a little bit from the Linux world and the Apple world. So you'll notice here, I can't execute that Zarf file right now. Oops. Did I not download it? No, I did download it. So I actually can't even execute it because it's not executable. And it will yell at me if I try. So permission denied. So if you're a Linux person, you know chmod, and you'll need it. So chmod, there are lots of ways it works. You can just use the man page to figure it out. I just generally use 751. What that does is I want read, write, execute as the owner. The group gets execute and read, and everyone gets just execute. So I'm going to do that on my Zarf binary. Now, at this point, for a Linux user, you would just copy this out to user local bin or some other directory in your path as Zarf, and everything's fine. But I'm on a Mac, and Mac has extra security fun. So if I were to just try to execute this now, it's going to yell at me. Oh, good, it yelled at me on this screen. I didn't know which screen was going to yell at me. So it's going to tell me that it can't check it for software because we don't have the Apple developer stuff that you would need for Apple to know about it. So we have to create an exception. So I've found the quickest and easiest way to create an exception here is we're going to do the show in Finder. I'm going to bring the Finder window over. And if I just try to open it, so I'm going to hold down my control button. Oops. I'm going to hold down my control key and I'm going to open it. And it's going to yell at me again because it thinks it's a document. Not a document, it's executable. But that's okay. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to open it with my terminal. And what that'll do is that'll force the terminal window open. It's going to warn me they can't verify it. Are you sure? It's going to ask me, and I'm going to say yes. The Zarf team is definitely not putting malware on my computer today. Maybe someday in the future. And we're going to open it. And it's going to warn me. Are you really sure? And I'm going to say, yes, I want to run this in iTerm. And it's just going to very quickly run and then exit. And I'm okay with that happening. Because what that did was that created a security exception on my Mac that said that executable is now okay to run. So again, if I go back and I try to execute that now, it'll run. And if I put a version behind it, you'll see I have 0.23 RC5. And at this point, just like if I were on my my window or my Linux system, I'm just going to move that over. Sorry, move. And that slash. Sorry, new keyboard. Still adjusting to it. I poured a whole quart of Gatorade into the last keyboard, and it didn't survive. Imagine that. And I'm just going to put it into my Zarf directory. And that's where the soft link would be if I were using it with Homebrew. Just remember when the Homebrew stuff is working again, and we have it all fixed, you do the upgrade to an RC, just remove this first. So remove that. I have to remember my password on this machine. Got it. And now I should have Zarf from that directory. If I can spell Zarf, good. And if I do a Zarf.version or a Zarf version, you see how the RC. The other thing that we're working on is we've done a little bit more work to the Zarf UI. Now remember that's experimental, and everything experimental is hidden behind dev. So I'll do a Zarf dev UI. And I'll caution you here, this thing is still fundamentally unworking. We are in that stage between proof of concept and pre-alpha. So this was a hackathon project that we did a proof of concept. We figured, oh, we can do this. The Zarf Pioneer will let us do that. And that's part of the thing that has led us down the path of Zarf the library and continue to work on this. So no, this is not even useful for training yet or teaching. Just know it's here. If you want to take a look at it, if you have any ideas for it, we'd love your feedback. So I can actually I'll need a cluster. So I'm going to actually do a K3D real quick. Let me make it larger for y'all. So one of the useful tools, especially on the Mac, is K3D. So K3D is K3S in Docker. So it's the K3's distribution of Kubernetes in Docker. So all you need is Docker installed, and you can very quickly put a developer quality Kubernetes server up and running. I'm going to do a K3's cluster create. Oops, not K3's K3D. And oh, I rebooted the machine. So I'm going to get Docker running and give that the 15 or 20 seconds that I need to have Docker to initialize and start up, because I rebooted my machine and don't have Docker as one of the things that automatically starts up. Actually, so we'll see. I did try. I took my keyboard completely apart because I had a mechanical, and Rice was not going to do it. It is shorted out. It was completely and utterly dead. I killed it. I killed it hard. So I have a nice newer mechanical. I don't know if you can hear it or not. I use some noise suppression. And okay, so now we have Docker. So I'm going to do K3D cluster create. Oh, let's just delete the last one because I have no idea what's on it. It was a hydrated keyboard. So cluster create. We'll just do the default K3D cluster. And I'll actually use the UI to do the initialization here. Actually, this will be fun. Let's see what it does behind the scenes while we're doing that, since we're fishing all the things out from the cluster. It's saying no active cluster. So if I were to Linux machine, I could actually I could bring up a K3S cluster from this button. but because I'm on an M1, I have to have a cluster to start with. That's why I use K3D here. Um, and it says no active Zarf cluster. Um, excuse me. So now I can start I can initialize a cluster. I'm gonna hit that. You see things happening behind the scenes over here. And we can actually see what gets deployed component-wise. This is the Zarf component YAML for each individual item, which is actually a really cool thing. This was just something I came up with, not an idea. It'd be really cool to be able to modify stuff in here on the fly. I know I know some people from that team are listening right now, but this is really cool, and this is a great way to learn how these packages are put together to be able to see it this way. So one of my favorite features, and then I can actually just deploy some of the extras as well. And then we go review, and we take a review step, which is go ahead and look again to make sure, oh, this is what we want to deploy, and I do want to deploy all these things, and we'll hit the deploy button. And we'll cross our fingers and see if everything works, because live demoing, you're always tempting the demo gods. Live demo of a release candidate, risky. All right, and it looks like things are working just fine. And you'll see here as the pieces finish and the get happens, this components deploy the API. So there's a Zarf API now as well. I'll have to play around with that because I don't know if we document that yet or not. I'm going to look into that and see how much is there, because I like integrating systems. It's one of the things I did early in my career. I love doing integrations. I love learning new things and getting them to tie together and solve cool puzzles. You can see as the component deploy is going and these items are finishing, they are checking off here, which is actually really cool. I like that. So UI UX people would love to see some spinners or some feedback on this screen to know that it's not broken behind the scenes. Because I bet yeah, that's like, I'm one of those guys that I have ADHD. So if there's not constant feedback on the screen, I think I've broken it. Which is also, it's kind of nice seeing the side by side. So I know it's not broken. It's just my ADHD going off. So the logging is done by the Loki stack. It's one of the optional deployments. I'll be doing some videos coming up on the Grafana stack in Zarf. So one of the things I'm working on right now is I'm creating a lot of Zarf packages. So I'll have videos out on, hey, here's how to create this package that has these many complicated steps in Zarf. And then we'll have more examples on the Zarf page, and essentially a catalog of different tools that'll be ready made to just drop into your project for Zarf. So if you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, we don't have a /C YouTube yet, because or /C Defense Unicorns yet, because we don't have 100 subscribers to the channel. So the way you have to find it right now is you actually go to YouTube and go into the search button and go into Defense Unicorns and click on this. And yes, please subscribe to the Defense Unicorns channel. I'm at 93. The moment we get to 100, I go out here and I go get the YouTube /C/Defense Unicorns, and then I can just put it up on all of our slides and all of our collateral on our website, so we don't have that. This is actually fairly new that we actually have like the username. It used to be you had to get to 100 to get the /C to get not the gibberish URL. So you can see YouTube's changing things as well. And we're just about done with the logging. All right, so Zarf is up, and we can see, hey, it's done. We know it's done, and somewhere to deploy package, and the deploy package doesn't work yet. So we've gotten as far as we can with this pre-alpha build for RC5, but there will be more dropping soon. So there's active development working on this feature here. So definitely check it out. Oh, and thank you people who are subscribing. I really appreciate that. So for the next meetup or the next thing that we do live, I can just say, hey, go to youtube.com/C/Defense Unicorns, or however they change the URL now. So that's all I have to show you for today. I'm gonna go hang out in the Zarf Meetup, the Zarf Meetup Gather group if you have a link there. So if you want to get to any of us at any point in time, we just pop up the cool slide for that if I can find it. So if you reach out to me directly outside of what we're doing today, uh, on the Kubernetes Slack. So so the CNCF runs a great Slack right here. You can sign up for it. We have a Zarf channel. So the developers and different people from the community will be there in the Zarf channel at all times of the night, because there are people like me who do standard like 9 to 5 hours because I've got kids and I need to be on their schedule right now with their schools and stuff. To people on the team who are like up at all hours because they, like me, have ADHD and want to solve problems and are night owls. So almost 24/7, there's going to be somebody out there, or at least first thing in the morning, get to something. We're out on Twitter at Defense Unicorns, LinkedIn Defense Unicorns, and then I haven't been consistent with it, but I'm heading that way. When I work on demos, the kind of things that I'm building for Defense Unicorns and for the community, I try to do it live. I've had contractors in here like nonstop, so I haven't been able to do live broadcasting. But all of that work was done as of yesterday afternoon. So 9 Eastern time to 11 Eastern time, give or take, based on when I get coffee or if I need, if the cat won't get on my lap, because I've got a cat who, she takes her morning nap on me. I'll be on Twitch 9 Eastern to 11 Eastern doing live chat. If you have questions, like it's kind of a free form thing where I'm just working on some tech nerdy stuff for Zarf, for Defense Unicorns, or maybe I'm just solving a problem that is curious to me, and like the back and forth. And let me grab. Has anybody have the Mattermost for the Zarf Online Meetup URL handy? Because I had it and then lost it because I had to reboot. Go to Gather. We don't want Defense Unicorns 1, so let me. Nope, don't want sign out. No, Gather. Thank you, Gather. Okay, so Zarf Online Meetup. Let me grab that invite link because it should be open now. I'm copying it into the chat. So if you have any questions, would like to come hang out, a number of us from the Zarf team and from Defense Unicorns will be there in the Gather Meetup. Or if you just want a Zarf t-shirt, I'll grab your email address and we'll send you a link so you can get a Zarf or a Defense Unicorns tee or something like that. So with that, thank you all so much for your time this afternoon. I'll see you over the Gather. Again, hang out, Eventbrite for Eventbrite, subscribe to our Eventbrite for our next event. We'll have an online meetup after the new year. So everybody have a great holiday, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.